Sweet. Hurry up and go live. Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Final Tackle podcast. Roll the intro. Rightio. I am CJ, and I am talking with former 2003 Panthers Grand Final winner, and also 2011 Manly Grand Final winner, and also 2009 Parramatta Eels Grand Final player, Joe Galuvao. Welcome to the podcast, mate. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having us, CJ. Appreciate it.
No worries, thank you. So basically, let's get stuck into the questions. Question one is, you made your debut with the Auckland Warriors in 1998. What was that like for you and the week leading up to it?
Yeah, it was, obviously a lot of guys that probably made their debuts. There's a bit of a haze. And I think leading up to the week, I was just kind of, probably excited. Probably the emotion I was kind of feeling that most of that week. Like I said, it just kind of goes. It was really, really grateful when Coach mentioned that I was going to play my first grade debut at the Warriors. And, I think, again, like a lot of guys making their debut, it's a dream come true for them, whether they play one game or, go on to play, a few years. I think the journey leading up to that year was, something that, I definitely will remember.
That's wonderful. Question two is, you headed to Penrith, where you won the 2003 Grand Final. What was the atmosphere like when you moved to Penrith and amongst the players and lads at the team in general?
I think when I moved to the club, obviously the club was in a bit of a transition. They weren't obviously doing well. They had a few lean years, and weren't, I guess, living up to the potential that the club is kind of known for. Especially being one of the biggest nurseries in terms of their junior rugby league players.
Yes,
so
I
think when I first got there, it was that type of feeling. And then obviously having, admin staff move on and coach move on as well, was definitely, I think, a trying time for the club.
That is a big change
whole.
for sure.
Yeah, so I guess, when I first moved there, that was, the atmosphere. But I think, when Johnny Land came, he kind of brought a bit of stability, having the experience that he has had. And I think also a lot of the players probably saw him as a father figure. Well, I definitely saw him as one. And I think that, with that, I guess comes with a lot of respect, and for all the players, especially, and a lot of new players that came on board. I think that was good in terms of, having different players, with different experiences, especially guys like Luke Prentice and your Preston Campbells. Those guys have had a lot of success. Well, and then you had your stables like your Gowies and those guys that that been at the club. So.
Yeah, nice.
So
nice.
It was I guess that, and then obviously.
Yeah, nice.
So
nice. Sorry for that technical difficulty, everyone. I was just talking to my housemate. Anyway, no, honestly, that's actually awesome, because I've spoken to Scott Sattler, another player of that team and that 2003 Grand Final as well. And I'm just wondering what your question is. I'm just wondering what your thoughts were during that game when you saw him make that try-saving tackle on Todd Byrne.
I guess for me it was a bit of relief, because we were attacking their line, and when Todd Byrne got that breakaway, or he was heading down, we were pretty tired, and and to see Sats come across, especially, and I was like back on their try line, and to see him make that tackle, I think that kind of really changed the momentum in terms of, I guess, our headspace during the game.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it boosted the boys, sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely. And, we've got a lot of confidence. I think, Satsy's been doing that for a long time, just, working hard, not giving up. I think that kind of, that moment especially, that, he can be very proud of, because, I think, that in the years leading up to that moment, I think really kind of encapsulated who he is and what he meant to the team.
Yeah, that's very true. Also, sorry to do a shameless plug, but that episode where I interview Scott Saller is available on our Spotify and YouTube. Next question is, you then played at Parramatta, and in their 2009 amazing season, and you reached the grand final. Unfortunately, you lost. What are the differences between winning and losing a grand final in the atmosphere and the emotions?
I think, the difference is, obviously losing, I think for a lot of guys that have lost the grand final, that feeling of, you wish you didn't even make the grand final because it's like an all or nothing type of, moment. So it's a real empty feeling because, you work your butt off that whole year to get to that position, especially for us, the way we kind of got it to there.
Yeah, for sure.
Got to that. I think we won 11 or 12 games straight.
I interviewed Daniel Mortimer a few weeks ago, and he said the exact same thing, that it was like literally a matter of pretty much fairy tale, really. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, no, and like exactly what you said, I think, 11, 12 weeks prior to that, I think, of course, the odds are about us playing, and, we were playing terrible football, and I think one of the best things that happened was actually, Daniel Anderson, the coach at the time, kind of threw the playbook out the door, and, he just kind of said, like, this is not working, and I think, for us, we kind of had to find our own way and feel our way through navigate that way, and I think we kind of clicked, put a few games together. I think it was especially around Cronulla, and I think once we strung a few wins together, that belief, and I think for a lot of teams, when you got that belief, not only in your own ability but also in your teammates, can be really a driving motivation for to do what we did that year, especially.
Yes, exactly. Which, not gonna lie, even though your team lost the grand final, it was still an amazing accomplishment to just make it that year for your team. So, congratulations for that year. You also represented Toa Samoa and New Zealand at international level. First of all, what was the feeling like running onto the field with the nation and your pride for those two nations? And also, what's the difference in intensity between club and representative games?
Playing for my country of birth, the Kiwis, was something of great pride for myself, and I think again making first grade and playing representative football, it's a culmination of all the hard work, and also the recognition, acknowledgement of all the getting to that position. So
for
so
sure.
For me, that was really satisfying. But also for me, the difference between representing the Kiwis and representing the Toa was, for me, I got to represent where my parents are from.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I think that holds, extra weight in regards to when you put that jersey on. Yeah, because I think I'm sure you interview a lot of players that get to represent their country or heritage. Their first thoughts are always their parents, and think about their journey of getting to whether they have to migrate, to make a better life for themselves and for their kids. I think that representing, your country heritage is something that is probably extra special. But it doesn't take away, both jerseys. So, but in terms of intensity, it's pretty the same. I think, I guess with what I said in regards to representing heritage, especially Samoa, you could probably put a bit more effort because there's a bit more heart into that. And again, I'm not trying to downplay playing for the Kiwis, but I think there's extra motivation there because again, it's your family that you're representing and the communities that they come from.
Yeah, no, wonderful. Honestly, I didn't see that side of things in general when people play for two international teams. Obviously, I figured one was for where they were born, one was for their family, but obviously the family one genuinely probably means a lot more to those players in particular. So thank you very much for covering that. Next question is there anything you miss and don't miss about playing?
Again, you probably tell any player that's retired, the one thing they don't miss is the training and waking up sore after games. It's probably one thing that I don't miss. And one thing I do miss is I guess the camaraderie that you have with players, and you basically with them day in day out, pretty much 6 or 7 days a week. The banter and again, the the good times and the bad times that you go through with the players and the coaching staff. I think, it's something that I do miss, and but like I said, I don't miss the training at all. It's something I'm pretty fortunate to look back now and watch everyone else kind of
nice.
go through it all.
Nice. So there's one more question before we get into our sponsorship mentions and the trivia, which is, with the 2019 season coming to an end, do you have a grand final matchup prediction?
Yes, I do. Well, I'm a Raiders fan.
I honestly see the Raiders making it as well. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, I've been a Raiders fan for as long as I can remember.
Oh, wow.
I think the type of brand of football they're playing, but especially I think they're winning games now where, in the past they weren't, I guess we're ready to win or expected to win. I think there's a real hardened edge that's about them, and especially, for example, on the weekend when they against Cronulla at home, I think, in the past they would have, crumbled in those types of situations, and I think they've been tested all year in those scenarios, and they've lost, even though they've lost games, they haven't really kind of put up the white flag, and so there's a real hardened edge to them. I think, put it down to especially a lot of the Englishmen guys that are there, and and then established players like your Crokers and those guys that are kind of the backbone. So and they got a bit of X factor around as well. So there's lots to like if you're a Canberra fan, and for me especially, I'd love for the Raiders to get there and obviously and win it all. But I think with the Roosters as well, it's hard not to go past them.
Sure.
They're kind of hitting their strides. They're hitting their time. The right time of year. And again, like your Melbourne, you can't. For me, it's about like a 3-horse race between those three. So.
Wonderful. Well, I personally see the Raiders. Well, I'd like to see the Raiders with their form and how they're going. I reckon we're going to see either a Raiders Manly, if Manly can go well with now that Tommy Trbojevic has been injured. If they can go well and prove that they can with this round coming up, I reckon it'll be a Raiders Manly or a Raiders Roosters grand final. Now, just a quick shout out to our sponsors. Our first sponsor is Leeds RLFC Stickers. For all of your Leeds Rhinos based stickers and sticker merchandise, head over to their Instagram, DM them for great prices, and yes, they ship internationally. Also, we are releasing a special exclusive batch of the Final Tackle podcast's Leeds Rhino stickers. So follow our Instagram and follow their Instagrams to be in the loop about that. And our second sponsor is the Grange Hotel, located in Wyoming, New South Wales, Australia. They are a quality bistro, as well as they play the footy on the big screens every single weekend from Thursday through to Sunday. Go there, get yourself a schooner of beer, and they do $12 schnitty nights on Monday nights, and you can't go wrong with a schnitty. And honestly, the best schnitty that I can recommend that I've had there is the gravy with the pepper gravy schnitty. Now, let's get into the try-time trivia. Are you ready for this, mate?
Yep, we'll try our best.
Okay, so, question 1. What is an affectionate nickname of the South Sydney Rabbitohs?
The Bunnies?
Yep. That's question 1 answered correctly.
All right.
Question 2. Which club defeated the New Zealand Warriors in the 2002 Grand Final?
Sorry, can you say that question again?
Which club defeated the New Zealand Warriors in the 2002 Grand Final?
The Roosters.
Yes. In rugby league, number 9 relates to what position on the jersey?
The hooker.
Yes. And we've got 2 more questions to go. Oh, sorry, no, 3 more, sorry. Actor Hugh Jackman is a fan of what National Rugby League team?
The Manly Sea Eagles.
Yes. And last 2 questions. Who scored the final try in the 2003 Grand Final?
To be Lanky Legs Rooney.
Yes, Luke Rooney. And last question. What was the original name of the Sea Eagles' home ground?
The original name?
Yes, it's now been changed to Lottoland, as everyone knows.
Galuvao.
Yeah, that's right. So you have actually got 6 from 6. That is only 3 out of, I think, 13 interviews that we have done. so far this season that have got 6 from 6. We've also got Mark
Oh,
Gara and Daniel Mortimer that have got 6 out of 6. I want to thank you very much for joining us here on the Final Tackle podcast. Do you have anything you'd like to promote or plug or any advice for the listeners about anything in general?
No, I guess for us in the game of rugby league, I work in our community space, and for I guess all the bad publicity that our game gets. I think podcasts like yourself and others that highlight players and the work that they do, but also I guess breaking that stereotype of perception. I think for our community out there to really get behind our game,
Yes,
because
definitely.
there's lots that our game is doing in regards to making a difference in our communities. And I'm down here in Melbourne at the moment working in our youth program. So it's just something that just to have your back in mind, any listeners out there. So before you sorry, did us.
I was going to say, sorry, continue.
No, yeah. I think think about we'll probably do a lot more good than what's I guess publicised up there. So.
Yes, definitely. I do have a question for you. It's not a trivia question or anything like that. It's I personally am going to be running at the end of the season, week by week, each team, as in team by team, week by week, a season review. Which team that you played for would you be able and also want to join us for that team's review of the season?
I've been watching a lot of the Raiders this season, so yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no worries.
Keen to jump on their review.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I will. That will be episode 3 of the season reviews because I'll be doing it in alphabetical order of teams. So I'll be doing Brisbane Broncos, Canterbury Bulldogs, and then it'll be Canberra. Sorry, so it'll be second. It'll be the second team review. So I will tee that up with you, but obviously it'll be post-season. Thank you very much for joining us here, everyone. You can catch this episode edited and unfiltered, etc., on Spotify. Eventually, in the next 2 hours, it will be uploaded, and also on YouTube as well. Thank you very much for joining us, Joe.
Thanks, mate. Take care.
You. Bye. Be sure to check this out on Spotify, and our posts will be on Instagram as well, and Twitter and Facebook, etc. Thank you very much to all who listened.